What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Drew Hoover, and today we're going more into the draft needs. The draft grades. The draft has already been ended. So we're talking about the AFC South today. This will be the last one of the AFC before I move on to the draft grades for the NFC. And so let's get right into it today. Before I do that, please make sure to subscribe to YourAverageJoes.com. And if you have any graphic design needs, Anthony Garcia is your man. His website, AnthonyGarciaDesign.com, is in the description below. And now let's get right into it today. And I'm going to start with the Indianapolis Colts. And for them, I gave them a C- right there. I know it's not fair when you talk about they got QD pay. They did pretty much address the defensive ends at the first two picks right there. I would have loved to, I keep saying linebackers in most of my leads, videos right here, but outside of Darius Leonard, they don't have a lot of linebackers right there. I would have loved them to add some depth, but then again, when you talk about they had pretty much four distinct, linebackers that they thought could succeed, and three of them went in the first round. I think the talent drops from there, and so most of it was, they didn't have a lot to do on the offensive side. They did trade to get Carson Wentz. We'll see whether that happens right there. When I look at the draft picks, the only pick that stands out other than QD pay is the Sam Ehlinger pick, the quarterback from Texas. Again, getting a backup for Carson Wentz. Other than that, I don't think they made any significant change. So I think they're still the same as where they were before the draft, hence the low grade. And so let us go to the Houston Texans. And I was actually surprised by that, and I give them a C+. I get a little bit of middle of the field right there. And I was shocked of how good they were going to do starting in the third round. And people may question some of these picks, but they got to start somewhere. And it started with David Mills, a quarterback from Stanford. You don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson and his allegations. I mean, obviously, I think Tyrod Taylor will get the start, but I feel like, David Mills brings some stability right there. Not to mention, they drafted Nico Collins, a wide receiver from Michigan, which is a good pick. Reverend Jordan, the tight end from Miami. And honestly, this offense will be probably based heavily on the run game because the head coach was from Baltimore under the offensive coordinator Greg Roman, so I feel like they'll probably run a similar offense where they're going to rely heavily on David Johnson and Mark Ingram, again a former Baltimore Raven right there. Again, I don't see a lot of high hopes for this team, but again, I was generally surprised by the talent they got right there. Obviously, they'll still have those holes on the defensive side, so I think the defense could eventually get worse than it was last year, which is saying something. But anyway, let's go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I give them an A+. Very good draft for their very first one. Obviously, you can't go wrong with the first pick right here. It was Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback from Clemson, and then counterparting him with his former teammate Travis Etienne from Clemson. I just don't know how heavily involved the running game is going to be, and Urban Meyer's spread offense. I feel like it could end up being 50-50 right there, but I feel like that offense is definitely going to take a lead from the year before. Also notable picks by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tyson Campbell, the cornerback from Georgia, a guy that I said was one of the best man corners in this draft other than Patrick Surtain and Greg Newsome. And also you got Walker Little, the tackle from Stanford, giving Trevor Lawrence some protection right there. Getting more defensive back depth with Andre Sisco, the safety from Syracuse. And then Jay Tufele, the defensive tackle from USC. Those were the guys that really stood out to me. I still think they have a long way to go. I think they got a lot of growing pains to go through. We hope that Trevor Lawrence could have a big year, or this could be a year where he struggles. There are some quarterbacks that do good but don't necessarily make it to the playoffs. Cam Newton did extremely well in his rookie year, but didn't take the Carolina Panthers to the playoffs. Same thing with Baker Mayfield. Had a good rookie year, but the Browns didn't make the playoffs until last year. So we'll see what happens with Jacksonville, but a good, excellent start, good first draft for Urban Meyer under Jacksonville. And finally, let us go to the Tennessee Titans, and I give them a B for their efforts. I love the fact that they took a chance on Caleb Farley, the cornerback from Virginia Tech. Cornerback was one of their biggest needs right there, and they took a chance on him, kind of similar to the way they took a chance on Jeffrey Simmons, the defensive tackle from a few years ago, and I feel like that's going to pay off right there. Also notable picks by the Tennessee Titans, Dylan Randez, the offensive tackle from North Dakota State. Again, the departure of Jake Conklin from last year, I feel like that needs to be filled. Elijah Molden, who can play defensive back and safety right there. I feel like that's gonna be a good pick right there. Dez Fitzpatrick, the wide receiver from Louisville, a guy that really showed up at the Senior Bowl with his athletic catches and stuff. I think people would be more favorable to his size than Tutu Atwell's, his teammate. Also, Rashad Weaver, the defensive end from Pittsburgh right there. And when I look at this division right here, man, I don't know. I think it's going to go down between Indianapolis and the Tennessee Titans again. And honestly, I'm not 100%. Obviously, the Houston Texans aren't going to be competitive. I think to bet on Jacksonville at this point is premature. So you got to go with Tennessee, who has been in the championship before. They have lost to the Ravens last year, but we talk about the additions of Bud Dupree, for example, to that defense right there. I wanted to take a chance on Carson Wentz for the Colts because he's got the talent around him. I'm just not sure how far it's going to take him. We're not sure if we're going to see the Carson Wentz that we saw that had an MVP-like season when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, or are we just going to see the same injury issues that he has struggled throughout the years? So I'm more lenient towards the Tennessee Titans to win that division again, but I don't think it's going to be that wide of a margin between them and the Colts. I still think the Colts have a good chance to win the AFC South. And that has been the draft grades for the AFC South. We have just finished off the AFC. We will start with the NFC soon. Please stay tuned for that, and have a good day, everybody.